What's good, everybody? Today is August 7th. We're about to run through the entire price action from today, all the opportunity from the day, and exactly what the market, in my opinion, was trying to teach us today. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into it. All right, so boys, hopping on to analyze the charts. Let's just place a quick little line exactly where we opened the market today, right? So if we look, we opened the market right at the top of this range pretty much, right? So looking on the hourly time frame, we had pretty much pulled all the way back higher, showing complete bullish order flow up to potentially these highs up here. That was the FOMC manipulation highs, all that kind of stuff, right? We could potentially look to see these highs get taken, right? And that became my higher time frame draw for the day, just simply because of how bullish price is. The only PD array in our way becomes this 4-hour change of the state resting somewhere around here, so it's market right here. And then also we have this inverse fair value gap in this area, which price could potentially want to pull back to retrace that change of state before actually dumping further, right? And if we look, we don't really have much of, we have a change in the state on the daily, and this potentially validates us to see this become a stay-in like it did and then continue pushing lower. But I just want to react and wait for the market to show it to me, right? So coming in today, I was bullish until proven not bullish, right? So market opens. If we look, I want to see something pretty much like this, zoom back out to the 4-hour. I want to see something where I just get some kind of retrace, maybe back into an order block, back into equilibrium of this range, and then just push higher, right? Something super simple. Want to see maybe equilibrium get tapped at this range right here. Anything like this, pull into one of these fair value gaps down here. This was my best area because it was equilibrium right here, order block right here aligned, and then we also literally perfectly aligned, by the way, check that out. And then we also had a fair value gap right about here, right? So this became the perfect area in which I want to see price draw towards. So I want to see something like this coming into the new day, right? So open off, we have on the 15-minute time frame, opening the day at 9:30, of course. We start right here. Now, at this point, there is no trade. There's no bias. There's no great opportunity here, right? I'm simply watching and I'm waiting for the market to show me something that I like to see, right? So opening, we see manipulation at these highs, right? Keep in mind, I'm bullish, right? So I don't want to see that high get taken. I want to see that become our draw for an intraday trade, right? So when I see this high get taken, I'm immediately on alarms. I'm like, hold up, are we going to see it get taken again? Or is this going to be the manipulation to push us lower, right? If we're pushing lower, I'm still not even sure that I do want to trade, because if we look at the hourly, look at all of this bullish order flow that taking a short would have to invalidate, right? If we took a short, we'd have to invalidate this entire leg of bullish order flow, right? And in my opinion, it's not smart to trade against the draw and have an opinion like that, right? I want to wait until the market proves it to me, right? So in my opinion, there was no opportunity for shorts until we had that hourly change of the state, or at least until we closed in the 15-minute past all of these fair value gaps right here. There was no opportunity until that point, right? So looking, we had this trade happen right here. So market opens, zoom to the 1-minute time frame just to give you guys a little clearer of an understanding of what we're looking at right now. So we see on open, we see NQ absolutely pumped to these highs, right? NQ opens, it pumps, it takes out this high, right? So we'll just quickly draw this out as some sell side or buy side liquidity getting taken. We then see 3 drives pattern. High 1 gets taken, high 2 gets taken, and then finally that third just sits there looking pretty as our third drive, right? So I'll just quickly mark that out, right? That's 3 drives pattern. On here on ES, we see the exact same, but it ends up being opposite, right? So if we look, we don't get this high, never gets taken. This high never gets taken. Well, this kind of clumpifies because if we look, this one doesn't end up taking that high. So if we look, pretty much we have on NQ, we have 1, 2, 3 drives pattern. On ES, we have 1, 2, 3, but in the opposite direction. So it's showing that ES is much weaker, right? Showing that NQ is definitely being manipulated, generating its own liquidity. Go ahead and run later, right? So the trade that you could have taken off of all of this, honestly, in my opinion, there really wasn't much, right? But the thing that you could have taken, you could have gone ahead and taken a short on some kind of change of the state right here. Most likely not taking that high, probably taking this to your stop loss and then going for this. Maybe going and leaving runners for external, but however, I thought this was really not a lot. Great RR, great setup. I really didn't like anything that I saw, so I wasn't too interested and keen on taking anything. So at this point, 3 drives, ES is looking much weaker. This looks like a manipulation to push lower. However, if we look, like I said earlier, I don't want to trade until all that order flow gets inversed. So the only opportunity, if you were comfortable trading that until that order flow got inversed, was right here. So it was after a 15-minute change in the state. I believe there's also some kind of 5-minute opportunity here too. No, not really. It would really just be this first. Yeah, so after this 15-minute change of the state, we retrace back into the change of state level, into this 5-minute fair value gap. And from here, there was no internal model to trade, or else I would have been trading it. Because if we look, the only possible trade, if we zoom down to 15-second, once we see that level get tapped, we pull all the way back over to here. Once that level gets tapped, what we see is tap, manipulation leg, and then complete displacement to take out that level. There was no retrace, no opportunity for any kind of entry here. And if you would have taken it on the retrace here, yeah, you would have banked. However, if you look, we already took the low. So the internal model is now not good, right? Now I don't want to trade this because if we look, the low already got taken, the internal model is done. The model is done after this point. This was the model right here. From this point to this point, that is the model right there. This right here, although it looks like a beautiful entry, and trust me, I would have been in this. If this was here, I would have been in this, right? To take me to this low, I would have loved to take that and then leave that for insane runners on the day. I would have loved that, bro. However, we don't get that opportunity because the low is already taken, right? It's just how price works. Even though it looks good here, that's not how it's going to work, right? So that was the only opportunity of today, and there was really no opportunity of today, in my opinion. So looking at the day, we ended up pulling all the way back to that point, which I wanted to see price retrace to, and then eventually, right around market close, we ended up getting a turnaround. And at that point, I'm fully off the charts. I don't even want to look at the charts, consider trading, because at this time, the action just not as efficient, and there's not as much retrace opportunity, or not as much real opportunity for trading, right? So if you look, the only opportunity here for me would have been after this change of the state. So let's just quickly look at what we could have seen happen on that change of state and then on this retrace right here. So I'll just mark this out right here. So zooming lower, say 15 second. Let's just quickly check out these two retraces and see if there's any opportunity to go in for runners or any kind of trade, right? If we look right here, the opportunity is here. However, the action is super choppy because we're looking at AS, right? So you would have taken this on, changing the state would be right here. There's really nothing for me here unless we had some kind of SMT, which I believe, yes, we did. Okay, so this wasn't actually too bad. However, nah. So if we look, the change of state would have been right here. It ends up getting tapped and delivers to that high. However, if you look on this pull through, we end up taking the high on NQ, right? So what that does is it goes ahead and it puts in a bullish or bearish SMT, right? So I don't want to be trading against that SMT, even if I'm so confident in external draw. The model's already done. I don't want to be trading it any longer, right? So first retrace opportunity, there's really nothing. And then in the PM session, we go over here. Look at how inefficient this action was right here. There was really, the change of the state would have been right here. And if you look, that actually would have ended up working out, taking change of the state on this level right here, or somewhere around here. You would have ended up getting tapped and it would have ended up delivering. However, if you look, the trade efficiency here is just not good. Like there's really no efficiency. We sit and we just kind of play around this range doing nothing until eventually blasting off. Like that's not what I want to be trading right on market close, especially. It's not something that I want to be in, and I don't think anybody should really be trying to take opportunities like this. So in my opinion, there was really no opportunity on the day. We had a super great opportunity filled day yesterday. So I think that this kind of action is definitely expected, especially when we zoom out to the higher time frame and just look at the range that we're in, right? We cannot expect great action in this range, right? So I think that today was a W day. I think that it was a day that the market told us work on discipline, work on preserving your capital, because everything that you do from this point on out will be to build, right? To build the foundation, to build further on all the things that you already have, right? So by coming into the day, wanting to make money, wanting to take a trade, you are doing yourself a disservice. You need to come in and say, I'm ready to follow my habits, follow my systems, and we'll see what it gives me. I'm not here like, I want to trade today, I want to make money. Of course, we all want to trade and we all want to make money, we all want to have fun in the markets. But that's not what a job is. Remember, you still have a job, you still have an occupation. Now, occupation is to follow your system. You don't have to listen to your boss because you don't have one. However, you have to follow your system if you want to make it in this game. And that's the fact. My system told me there's no trade today, so I didn't take a trade. And that's really as simple as it gets. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys can learn something from today's video. If you have any comments, go ahead and throw them down, and I'm going to let you boys go. So have a good one, and peace out.